of the National BIM Society and chairman of BIM at Governing Council of Forum of Critical Utility Services. He is serving as principal member at Construction Management Sectional Committee CET29 Bureau of Indian Standards. He also serves as National Secretary at Forum of Human Rights and Anti-Corruption. He is serving as member of the Board of Studies and guest faculty and industrial guide for research in BIM and digital strategy with various universities. He holds PhD in establishing organization BIM strategies and one master's in global BIM management and another in construction management. He has participated in few international conferences, published journal papers and book chapters in this area. His R&D focus area are global trends in BIM, digital twin in projects, lean and green BIM, etc. His key research focus is on two directions, that is, establishing BIM project strategies and BIM education and training. He supports as strategic advisor for National Council and Forum for Enabling Digital Transformation in Indian AEC sector, and he is coordinating with CII, EIG, BAI, IGBC, etc. He is advisory member for EU BIM Observatory and BIM Crew. Country editor for BIM Dictionary, he is member of CIOB, ASCE and RICS, editorial team member for IJMNP Journal and ISCCCBE Technical Committee member. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for the brief introduction. And I think I need to thank all the participants, especially the faculties and the industry people to join this session. Let me share my screen. Well, today we'll be discussing about the need for BIM education in our tertiary education system. This is because the main reason is there is a digital transformation trends happening globally, and wherever on day-to-day activities we all focus on digital, and it's very much important to understand how we can digitalize our built environment, which includes the smart cities, buildings, infrastructures, and all of these. And it's not just about using that only at the operations, but starting from the planning, design, construction, handover, and then operation, demolition, recycle. Over the complete life cycle, how do you manage the data in a digital way so that it is the collaboration, communication, coordination among the supply chain participants in the projects? Well, this is a very critical topic for all the professionals or the students who are studying in architecture, civil, mechanical, real estate, construction management, and any other divisions of civil engineering, and also into the business management, legal, because anyone focusing on the construction sector or the built environment, they should have this kind of education, which is very much fundamental for the digital journey in terms of construction sector. So let us go deeper onto that. What is the importance of having this, and what do we learn in BIM, and so on. So looking into this slide, you can see roughly 30-40 countries already having the BIM adoption mandates to some level, starting from way back in 2007 in Finland, for example, if you see on the top, and then going further into 2008 in US, and then you can see also other areas, like it's going further in 2010, 2012 in Korea, then followed by 2017 in Scotland. So even 2021 Brazil, 2022 Peru, it's still going further. Chile in 2020. Even in our country, there are kind of BIM mandates at a different ministries level. Maybe Central Public Works now asking for BIM for all their projects, and also Airport Authority has mandated, and also for most of the metro and HSR projects which is coming in is with a BIM requirement, and healthcare, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and day by day different clients have started asking for BIM in their projects. But it's not a complete mandate from the central government saying that, hey, look, do the e-submissions with the BIM as a prerequisite. That kind of requisites is going to come in, but that kind of mandates happens much quicker and easier in the small countries. like in UK, Singapore, or any countries you take, Japan, Korea, or even some of the European countries like Finland, Sweden, because it's a small region and it's easy to bring in that changes. But a country of our size will take its own time for having a central mandate. But there is no exception because we have moved from the CAD, handmade to CAD, CAD to BIM, and now it's a digitalization which has to happen. And there is nothing called looking back and seeing should we go with it or not. It's already started. Today, if I have to be in a good position in the global sector for any jobs or even having a better startups to run or a business to run, we have to align with the latest trends. And this is one of the latest trends, which is aligning with Industry 4.0 for the project management. So I would recommend all of you to make sure that you can include this into your curriculums and also help align your students onto this digital journey. And it can be more of a multidisciplinary education because today it's not about me as a civil or a mechanical or an architect learning separately BIM, but it's as a collaborative learning understanding because at the end when we want to work on a project, it's a collaborative effort. We don't work as an independent silos in the project. So even the education should be more of a multidisciplinary, like different discipline department students come together, have the basic understanding of what are their roles and responsibilities, and then pitch in for real projects. So this will really help them to align for what is expected in the country, what is expected by the clients or the industry, and then able to align with the industry requirements so that they all become workable and get placed. Today, the most important challenge in our country is we have the youngest population. The number of youngest population is the highest than any other country compared, but the number of people getting placed is very minimum. It's all because of the quality of education we provide, and also it's not. I don't need to blame only the education system. It's also the industry and also the clients, because alignments and going with what's happening globally is very much critical. If global clients have started demanding and changes are happening quickly, the changes has to be adopted by our country and the clients, and then the industry has to adopt the changes, and then education system has to provide that capabilities for the students to work on the company job requirements. But today it's not happening. We wait for someone to start, let's see what's going to happen, without doing that. If an industry, if some competitors are working, then we start looking in, oh, without this I may not get the project. See, at the end, when we are doing the digitalization, it's all about helping or ease the process of collaboration and also the data management here. So with this slide, I think you have got some clarity that it's coming as a mandate globally, and it's very much important to have the education. Never think that okay, I'm with so and so background and I don't need BIM in the education. Way back 8 9 years, I used to work in one university for 6 months. I think some of the faculties from there also here now. Um, as a civil engineer faculty, they used to tell you don't need to use a laptop. The principal was questioning me, why do you use the laptop being a civil engineer? I mean, being a civil engineer doesn't mean that you should not be IT, because there is IT in construction is very critical now. And that's why I mainly recommend you, no matter you're from which department, but you're belonging to construction sector, you have to align for the digital trends. So this one is related to the BIM related initiatives. When we have this kind of, you have engineering forum, contractors forum, or architects forum. The same way for the BIM, there are forums in each of the country. They represent their country's BIM capabilities, and they focus on their country's policies, education, certification, mandates, networking, events, all of these areas. So these are the countries where you have the BIM associations, councils, forums, roughly 40 plus countries, 50 plus forums. And in India also we have India BIM Association, which we started in way back in 2016. And we mainly focus on focusing on the policies, like developing the BIM standards, and also organizing the BIM events, networking, and also the mandates, helping the clients in pushing the BIM further into the implementations, and also to support in the education system for the way forward. So this is one of the example where we are in the FDP program today. So we, as the India BIM Association now, are roughly representing 40,000 plus BIM professionals from 60 plus countries. And we have a strategic collaboration with roughly 10 plus countries forums like Canada BIM Council, BIM Forum Brazil, UAE BIM Forum, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Turkey, and few other countries. Looking into the key terms like virtual design, construction, building information modeling, digital twin, IT in construction, smart facilities, smart buildings, smart infrastructure, built environment, all of these are same. There is nothing different. So don't please get confused. It's all about how you digitally manage the data. Different people use different terms to make the marketing and confuse people. So at the end, when we look in this figure, just want to give you some clarity. Like when I say BIM, it's nothing but you have a model developed, like how you do the same way in aeronautical, mechanical, industrial manufacturing. First, you need a prototype, and it's a virtual prototype here. And then you do all the possible simulations, and then you use that for actual activities. BIM is the same. There is nothing different. It's all about how multiple participants in the project lifecycle are coming in, how they're generating the data, how they're integrating the data into one common platform, and how they're using the data for different simulations and activities. That's where BIM comes into picture. In fact, the 3D printing of real projects is happening because of the BIM model and integrating that with the 3D printers. And then the drones, by the drone surveys and also the progress monitoring, you can use the data and integrate with the BIM model. Construction automation today, you have several on-site equipments like the one you can see here, LT Joybot. Once you feed the BIM model into it and the HVAC details, it can start drilling down the places where the HVAC installation has to be done. So it will completely automate the process of construction automation to some level. And also there are different equipments like quality controlling. MI Quality Dog recently has been launched, and there was one from Boston Dynamics. There's several other construction automation for the cranes and few other things. And looking into the IoT, Internet of Things has become pretty common these days, and it's nothing but there is some equipment and it's connected to the internet, and the data is connected to the internet through the sensors. So that is nothing but an IoT, and the same IoT device can be integrated with the BIM model, so that you don't need to go back to the IoT device to capture the data or to the two-dimensional platform, but you can go back to the BIM model, click on the IoT device, and see all the sensor data related to that. Laser scanning. In fact, laser scanning people are using to restore the heritage buildings or also to capture the as-is situations. It's also very important. You can get the point cloud data, and any damages happen, you can reconstruct back in the way as it is. And also the prefab. In fact, with the detailed BIM model with LOD 350 plus, you can have the prefabrication linking with the CNC machines, and it can automate the prefabrication processes, and it will ease you for the assembling on the site situations. I'm just giving you some examples on these things because some people think these are different sectors. It's all related to BIM and data management and digital. And looking into the life cycle phases, this is one of the life cycle stages. You can consider stage 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all during the design phases. Stage 1 is more of a planning where client and the consultants discuss and come to some conclusions. Stage 2, 3, 4 is where the architect, structural, MEP, and other designers come into picture. Develop the design, the BIM model for all the disciplines and coordinate them and make a final model. Stage 5 and 6 is where the contractors, subcontractors, and the supply chain team come in and start executing the project using that BIM model. Stage 7 is where you hand over the digital twin and the maintenance team start using it to integrate it with facility management systems. So each of these phases, there are different participants coming in and different data getting generated, and all those are managed through that common cloud-based BIM platform, so that anyone can access any data at any point of time. So no need to wait for anyone else. The RFPs can be reduced, revers can be reduced, and clarity can be increased, and cash flows can be made easier, and many things. And transparency also increases. But what is this BIM all about? If you see here on the top, there's a graph. You have three types of items in a BIM model. One is a graphical representation. That means if I see a door, window, or HVAC systems or anything, you have a graphical detailed representation of how it looks, how detailed it is. And non-graphical is nothing but the parameters, like what is that door made of, what is its dimension, what is the thickness, what is the material, who manufactured it, what is its lifespan, what is its warranty, XYZ things. When was it installed? When it has a maintenance, XYZ things. Documentation is nothing but any warranty cards, any test reports, any of these things gets attached to the same element in the BIM model. So doesn't it ease the process of capturing the data and accessing the data? Yes, it does. And that's where the BIM plays a major role. And once you put that on a common platform, you just log in and access whatever data you need. It makes life so simple. Only if you have a matured BIM implementation. If you just say BIM, we develop a BIM model and we just keep it, and for the site we just use the drawings, then it's not a BIM. Unnecessarily you're wasting time and efforts and money of your clients and yourself to say to do something called BIM, but it's not a BIM. This is the situation. What happens when we say BIM? You have to start using the model for the site activities. That means stage 5 and 6 also. But today, the maturity of the teams in the country we have, there are people who can do 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. Develop a very fancy BIM models, very details and so on. But we don't have a team that is capable to use that BIM model for the stage 5 and 6, where you have to do the build, commission, handover, where you use it for multiple activities like time planning, cost planning, monitoring, safety planning, quality, logistics, procurement, data management, digital twin development. XYZ things are there. Contract claims and litigation disputes, and resolutions. All these areas, BIM has a lot to do. But today we don't have that capabilities. It has to be somewhere dealt with the universities to start with the youngsters who are coming in to join us for getting that education, so that they become competitive in the market and they get better jobs in the companies. And this is the main challenge even we as a company people face today. We don't have much of people with the capabilities for the construction activities. So we do internal trainings because depending on the universities to provide us that education has become pretty challenged, and we have set up our own BIM academy in the companies. And many of the institutions, many of the companies have started forming their own education institutions within internally, so that they can drive a better education on what is required for the industry requirements. And looking into this curve, I just wanted to discuss this with you. This is from PwC report of 2017. You can see the down, the x-axis, design, construction, operation, maintenance, and dismantling phases. That is life cycle phases. On the y-axis, you can see the cost. And the blue curve is something, the cost without BIM implementation. Sorry, with BIM implementation. The red curve is without BIM implementation. So as you can see clearly in the design phase, without BIM, the cost is less. But with BIM, the cost is a little bit high in the design phase. But when it comes to construction phase, with BIM, the cost becomes less, 10% of the capex cost. And when it comes to operation maintenance, with BIM, it's a little bit higher in the initial phase. And without BIM, it's a little bit lesser in the initial stage. But later on, if you see during operation phase and then the dismantling, with BIM becomes much cheaper. That means 10% of OPEX cost. When you can deliver a matured BIM in the project with all your partners in the project working on a BIM platforms and make sure the things happen, you can easily save 20%, 10% of capex and 10% of OPEX cost. This is the real pictures. But the challenge today is we have capable people for developing a BIM for design. That means people who can work on softwares like Revit, Navisworks, or Civil 3D, or XYZ modeling tools. That people are many in our country. And they are paid in the range of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, these kind of things. And there are some people even suffering without jobs after few years of experience. That is because the supply has become more than the demand. But when it comes to actual construction activities, there are very, very few people who have that capabilities to use that skills on implementing for the site activities. So this is where the skill building is very much essential today. And the challenge with most of the universities, as per my understanding, many of the time some tech vendors coming and they say we will give you some free solutions. Please go in with a collaboration and you teach your students. Well, that is good to some level, but please do focus on the softwares which are on the construction activities. That is very critical because that area is very much important for the students to learn, because today it's not one software available for one activity. There are at least 20-30 vendors available to give you different solutions. So students should not learn BIM as a software, BIM as a overall workflow, and as a BIM as an ecosystem has to be learned, which is very less in the existing education system in our country. And during the operation initially, it's a little bit expensive with BIM because you are getting a digital twin model. You have to integrate with your facility management system, so you have to procure the software licenses, hardware, and all of these, and you're spending a little bit money in the initial phase. But later on, you're saving that 10% of OpEx cost. So again, the capabilities to use the BIM for facility management teams are very less. So someone focusing on MEP, facility management systems, they are the people to learn this part of BIM integration, how they can integrate the digital twin for the facility management. In the construction phase, people have to focus on how to use the BIM model for construction activities. Okay, these are the two critical areas where we had to upskill the teams in our country so that they become workable, they get better jobs and better salaries and so on. And today it's a challenge yet. So with implementing BIM, you have several benefits. In fact, you can have a better time savings, material savings, because you plan everything clearly and then you execute. Cost savings, health and safety improvements, because you do say several safety simulations and so on. You can reduce a lot of risk because you predict all the things before the execution and then avoid them. Improves asset utilization because you have the digital twin model, you understand what is happening, what materials and so on, you can plan accordingly. Improved asset quality because you no matter where you sit and you can still manage your facilities with your IoT device integrations and so on. And when you start following up with the latest trends and including BIM and whatever, your company reputations also improve. So looking into the maturity today, no matter there are hundreds of companies saying that I can deliver BIM for you. It may be a design company, contractors, subcontractor, facility management, or a project management, or whatever, and also clients saying we are expecting BIM. But today, the client expectations in BIM is still at level one or little bit to level two. Some matured clients. When client itself is asking to basic level where the people don't understand what they're asking, then how do you expect the service providers to deliver level two BIM maturity or think of level three maturity? So awareness is very much critical for your clients, for the industry, for the education system, which provides the education and build the team for workable for the industries. So looking at what are these levels, level zero means there is no BIM in a project. It's a traditional approach completely. Level one, it's like you are using BIM for a design activities. You do model, you do coordinations, you do class detections, and it's only working in the design phase. And when it goes to the construction phase, you are not using BIM, you're just using the drawings again. So that is like level one. And here there is no common standards. Whatever standard you feel better, you make it up in your organization, you say we are following. And you don't focus on a cloud-based solutions here. Level two, you're focusing on BIM for design and construction activities, and you are delivering a digital twin, and you are following some common standards among the different organizations participating in this project. And in you have common data environment set up for the level two. Level three is something like most of the softwares are cloud based, and design, construction, operation, all of this happens with BIM, and all the teams in the supply chain are skill built on the BIM side. And there is a common standard, maybe global standard or a local standard, which every partner in the project follow. These are the differences. Level three is not ready in the market yet because the technologies are not completely cloud based yet, and the teams in the construction and operation are not fully skill built on BIM. And in fact, the BIM standards for the complete global standards for BIM standardization, like ISO 1950, is not fully developed. So this being the situation, level three will take another 5 years plus in the global market. For in our country, it may take another 10 years. But today, what client is asking is level two. That means give me a digital twin at the handover of a project. That means you use BIM for design and also for the site activities, for time, cost planning, common data environment, update the model back to the requirement, do the safety, logistics, procurement, and XYZ things. So this is where we need the skill capability at least now, and follow some common standards, and also build the team capabilities for the civil, and any people in the civil departments. It may be transportation, earthquake, structural, construction management, real estate, whatever. So I just want to give you two examples here about return on investment. Department of Health office building in Victoria Street. This is again from the PwC report. The BIM maturity level here is a little bit high. Like what client is asking is like 100% BIM as per level 2 requirements. And project BIM maturity is around 93% of what client has asked. And supplier BIM delivery is around 91%. You can see this figure. That means most of them, the BIM delivery capability, data verification, validation, collaborative working, all of these are like 100%. The construction BIM capability is only 40% here. That means people don't have that skills for site activities. Here, if you see the return on investment, you see the three phases: design, construction, operation phases. The overall project cost is 22,526,574, what you see here. And out of this, with that maturity of BIM in the project, they are able to save 3% of this actual cost. And what they've considered is here 12 years of maintenance, because this is a approximate cost for 12 years maintenance they put in, because they started the project in 2016 and then construction completed in 2017 September, and then they're considering 12 years of maintenance. That means with this level of maturity, they're able to save only 3% of the overall project cost. But with a matured BIM, you can do better. And looking into the next small project here, this is a river force barrier upgrade case study. Here, the maturity of BIM is a little bit less than what the previous slides you saw. The client BIM maturity, that means what client is asking itself, is only 68% as per level 2. And the supplier capability is 60%. Overall project BIM maturity is 62%. As you can see in this figure, all these maturities are less. They're like 60%, 70%, except the visualization capability is 100%. So if you see the return on investment here for the cost, like 23,748,302 is the overall project cost, including 27 years of maintenance as an approximation. So 1.5% is the project cost savings. This is less than the previous one. This is because of the maturity of the BIM in the projects. So don't blame BIM, but blame the way we do BIM. So because if you are not doing a matured BIM, you don't get the returns. So which is very much critical to understand and build the capabilities across that, so that the BIM really makes sense for adding on further. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, sorry for that. There was an emergency call. So looking into our AEC project stakeholders, that means architecture, engineering, construction. What does this mean? Architecture and engineering, you have both design and construction people. And construction, you have contractors, subcontractors, civil engineers, and other people coming in. So all these professionals need BIM education. There is still a misunderstanding that, okay, BIM is for architects, for civil may not be required to some level, and MEP may not be focusing on that. No, there are different kind of misunderstanding. But it's important for all of us who are working in a construction sector, especially. And the skills are different. It's not that everyone need to learn a software. Everyone need to learn a modeling software or modeling. There are a different skills and competencies, and they have a different job roles as what they usually do. It's the same job role they have to do. They cannot change their job roles. If I'm a planning engineer in a traditional approach, I have to be a planning engineer further also, but I have to upgrade for a digital projects. If I'm a quantity surveyor, I have to be the same QS person, but with a BIM way. And if I'm a designer, I should be a designer again. Architect should be an architect again. Civil engineer cannot become an architect. Architect cannot become a civil engineer or a construction manager. So we have to play the same roles. But the only thing is we have to build the capabilities to align for the BIM or digital projects. Today, what is happening is civil engineers are trying to become architects, or architects are trying to do something else. And that is because of the wrong education given. If I'm a civil engineer, I have nothing to do with developing a BIM model or using a Revit. If I'm a structural engineer, I may do the structural model. If I'm an MEP engineer, I may develop an MEP model. But being an civil engineer, I don't need to do the architectural model. So this is a wrong education given. And what is that happen? The architectural education is different, civil education is different. Why we are asking them to do the model for architecture? So civil engineer, what is his role? For example, is he has to bring the design into reality, right? So what is the work we have to do? We can do the planning, we can go into quality, we can go into estimations, we can go into XYZ things, but related to construction activities. So these are the key things we have to understand. There is no need of changing our job roles. It's the same job role. Only the skills has to be changed. So there are different softwares for each of them. It's not the same software for all of them. If I'm a safety engineer, I may focus on softwares like Fuser, Synchro to do the safety simulations using the BIM model. I should be knowing how to use the BIM model, how to do the safety simulations, how to develop the videos from that for the safety trainings. If I'm a planning engineer, I should know how to link the BIM models with the timeline on softwares like Navisworks or a few other softwares, 4D BIM solutions, and then see the progress and also do the time progress monitoring on the site. If I'm a QS person, still I have to do the same role. If I'm into legal contracts and so on, I may need to understand what is the contractual obligations, what kind of ownership has to be put in for the BIM model, who owns what kind of disputes come, how to resolve it. The same activities. So one thing to be clear for all of us is all of us play a role in BIM, but we no need to change our current job roles. We have to only enhance from the current skills to the next skills to adopt for the latest kind of digital projects coming in. So today we see, for example, on the construction side, we see different departments like design, planning and QS, tendering and contract, safety and quality, procurement and supply chain, project execution, form work. Well, BIM is for all of these people, but activities are different. If I'm a form work team member, I may need to develop a temporary structure BIM model for that particular structure and then do the simulations of how to assemble, disassemble, what is the timeline, and so on. If I'm a safety and quality, as I already said, what has to be done? Tendering and contracts, they need to focus on how to EBIT the projects using the BIM model, extracting the quantities, calculating the cost, and making sure align with the bid requirements. Procurement and supply chain, they have to use the BIM model to integrate with the supply chain vendors and make sure the logistic planning and also even the materials are coming on time on the site rather than dumping too much of materials on site. And planning and QS, they have their own work to do. Project execution team to use that BIM model for site activities, progress monitoring, and so on. So, well, it has to be very well defined on what roles people play, and that the same skills has to be given in the education. And looking into the kind of education, I mean, the job market today in the digital area, you have three areas. Obviously, in any job roles, you have three areas. One is a technical, second is a managerial, third is a strategic, which you can also call as a leadership. Technical is something like human to software interaction. You know, like I'm a technical expert. I'm working on a software, on some software, and then developing a model, doing some simulations, and so on. Those are all technical people. A person uses a BIM, develops a BIM model, who does the class detections, who does the time planning, cost planning, safety, quality, all of this, playing with the software and the model, is a technical person. The managerial is something, it's more of a human to human interactions. People try to understand the workflows, client requirements, deliverables, coordinations, communications, standard approaches, all these things, which is more of a managerial role. This can be like a design manager, construction manager, facility manager, project manager, this kind of people. A strategic is more of a leadership where these people understand the global trends, the way forward, what is going to come in next 5 years, 10 years down the line, what is my competitors doing, what my company is doing, how can I transform my company's capabilities, how do I build my capabilities, develop the strategy plan, make the collaborations with other partners, and make sure what client is asking, be the front runners, build the team. All of these things comes in. It's more of a leadership, understanding the company and building the team and taking the team ahead with you on the transformation journey and helping the company to transform and reach its vision and mission of what the leadership team has formed. That kind of things. Today, when I say about BIM, we may feel that, oh, BIM is a model. Oh, BIM is something you can link with the timeline. Oh, BIM is for a visualization. No, BIM has many things to do. I can say it's more like a menu card, hotel menu card. If I go to a hotel, you get a different menu items like South Indian, North Indian, Chinese, and XYZ things. The same way in BIM, the client can select these are the items I need to be implemented, and based on each item he implement, we may need to plan out what software it needs, what team it needs, what efforts it needs, what standard approach it needs, and what is the deliverable requirements and all of this. So you can see this list here. For example, on the left side, these are based on the life cycle phases: strategic, preparation, concept, developer, design, technical. These are all the design, planning to design phases. Next slide, I will come to the construction phase. Okay. So you have, these are the menu items. Like you can set the project build strategy. The client may say that, okay, proper BAP has to be set based on my AR requirements, and CD has to be done. Soft landing has to be done. They may say, I need a surveying to be done with BIM. You have to integrate the GS map with BIM. You do the value analysis with BIM. They may say you do the modeling, use the BIM model for AR, VR, visual communications. You do use it for lighting analysis, safety assessments, quantity takeoff, cost planning, clash detection, fire and smoke simulations, prefabrication. The client will decide and tell in their RFP saying that I need these items to be executed by your supply chain team. You know, then you have to build the capabilities to deliver them. And if you see on the right hand side, these are the kind of possible departments. If you take a strategy team, may be there in a company. A BIM team can be there for a design, construction, execution, planning, and QS, quality, safety. So you can see for each of these items, you have a different departments to come together or the team members to come together to deliver them. The same way in the next list, here you can see more of a construction handover. You have field BIM implementation, construction progress monitoring, change order management, AR, BIM IoT interfacing. So you have the different activities related to this, and again the different teams. So this is like BIM is nothing but like a menu card, and the client, if client is very mature, he understand by implementing which BIM use cases, what is the return I can get, and he is mature client and he will ask for them. If I see most of the North American clients and few other clients are very much matured and they use it and they ask for their service providers to deliver. In India, still the clients are not so mature to ask for all of them. They're asking for 20, 15 to 20 of these items. And the service provider is also delivering it. But today, the client is asking for 20 of them, 20 items. But tomorrow, in another 1 or 2 years, the client asking start asking for all the 40, 50 items. Then we have to have that capabilities to be built in the company. If we cannot, then we don't have the capabilities to deliver that project itself. So this is very much important, not only building the team capability within the company, but also to build the capabilities among your partners, because you're partnering with those companies to deliver the projects. And only if your company is matured, if your partner is not matured, you're not going to deliver a matured project, BIM project. So it's very much important to understand on this ecosystem approach and whole holistic approach. And if you see 3D modeling, 4D BIM, 5D BIM, 6D BIM, these are the items, use cases, what you saw in the previous slides. To do any of these things, your first question is, what is the benefit of doing it? What is the manpower which has to come to do it? What is the IT infrastructure? That means what softwares you need, what hardware you need, what network you need, what is the kind of trainings you need for the skill development. These are the key items you have to address for each of these items, right? Without that, you cannot build the capability. Without building a capability, you cannot deliver the projects. And today, you may be surviving in the market without delivering that. But trust me, the global market, if you see in the many of the clients, they clearly say if you're not able to deliver the project with BIM way, then please don't come into the project without you're not even part of the bidding process. Okay, then you will be out of the game. With that situation, if even students go and get the education of what is required, they're out of the game. So it's not that the students doesn't have the capability to deliver that, because most of our Indian students go abroad and then get the skills and then they become workable. But today in our country, they're not able to be workable because of the challenge of the education, what we are delivering them. So some changes is very much essential to make that workable. So I will just take you through some of these BIM users so that you get some understanding. Roughly, if I have to implement BIM in the life cycle, there are 15 to 20 softwares you have to use. And it is used by different people. It's not that I'm a planning engineer, I have to use all of them. I may need to only learn one software related to that activity, but I have to understand the whole approach, understand the coordination requirements and the BIM as a process, and what are the standard approaches. All those these things I have to understand. And I've just referred some softwares here for each of these cases, and also what equipments like drones, lidar scanners, workstations, or XYZ devices, and also the manpower, what is required, and also what level of model detail you need. Just an example and some figures on the left hand side. For all some of the use cases, what I discussed in the menu card, I'm showing you all of them to here some for your reference and understanding. Because we have to understand BIM is not just a model development. BIM is something a big frame. It's a framework, and it's more about a data management on a virtual platforms. So the first BIM use I'm discussing here is a project site modeling and infrastructure modeling. On a project site, what you may have underground pipelines, you may have neighboring structures, and all of these things. You may use some drones for doing the aerial survey and some scanning to done capture the underground facilities and so on, and then develop the site project site information. For that, you may have a surveying team, design team, and a BIM team, and you may have different softwares like SketchUp, Civil 3D, 360, Context Capture, and so on. These are not the only softwares. There are more than 300 softwares in the market for BIM. So you have to be very critical on deciding what softwares you're choosing. It's not just one tech vendor come and say, hey, look, I'm giving you free software and put into your education and you are done. Then you are not the sufferers. Your students are the sufferers after they come out of the education. So existing condition modeling. This is again, if there is some existing facilities, you have to capture that. You may use some laser scanners and then capture the point cloud and then use it further. This is for infield construction layout. For example, if you are having a BIM model, you're putting into this total station, the points. So with that points, you can guide the site assembling activities for the prefabricated components. And also you can take the site measurements, actual installation positions back to the model so that it becomes as is built model. Laser scanning for the construction activity. You would have seen people doing the laser scanning during the site construction progress. One thing they want to use it for progress monitoring. Every quarter or 6 months, they do the scan and see, overlap it on a BIM model, 4D BIM model, and see are we ahead or behind of the schedule. Or other times it may be to capture the digital twin, like as is representation BIM model, so that it can be used for facility management. BIM room for coordination meetings, because you have several site coordination meeting among the different participants, and if you just put a CAD drawings in front of them, the visualization or people imagination thinks in a different way. Today, put a CAD drawing in front of 10 people, all 10 people cannot imagine the same way. But if I put a BIM model with the big screens, and a walkthroughs for them, everyone are on the same platform, thinking on the same line. So the coordination meetings becomes easier, resolutions become faster, and it becomes much smoother. You have all the team on the site, because for the BIM room is nothing but you have a big screens, projection systems, and people able to walk through that BIM models. And there today, there are some companies having a shipping containers with all this assembling set, so that you can move the shipping containers from one project site to another project site. That has all this setup for the BIM meetings, so that people just get in the meeting rooms, dump that container in any project site where they want, and so on. So things are automating these days. Logistic planning is something like, there are different equipments on the site, maybe several machines, cranes, traveling parts, several buildings construction happening, several material dump yards. So very much important to monitor and plan the site activities on the movements of each of these, so which we call it as a logistic planning. There are softwares like Synchro, Fuser, Timeliner, Vico, which will help you to do the complete site simulations, so that you can avoid a lot of mishappenings. Site safety review, again, you can bring in the BIM model for safety simulation. It will tell what kind of barricades has to be fixed, what kind of safety precautions to be taken. All of these things will be able to have a video simulations and do the guidance on the site team. Prefabricated building components, well, using a BIM model, it becomes much precise to prefabricate anything and then assemble on site. With small deviations also, it becomes very complicated to assemble them, especially in industrial projects and also in the MEP installation. So BIM becomes very critical for prefab. Digital twin, it's nothing but having a as is BIM model. People may be confused. Oh, before people used to say BIM, now client is asking digital twin. What is this? How to deliver that? BIM is nothing but you have developed a design model. After the design team has developed a BIM, you have coordinated BIM model that we call as a BIM model. And once you start using that BIM model on the site and whatever the changes on the site that gets updated onto the BIM model, and during the handover, you are giving the exact replica of what has been built, updated on the BIM model. That is called as a digital twin. And that clients are asking because they want to know what has been built in a virtual and in a virtual model. They don't want what you have planned. You would have planned 100 things, but what executed is what is at the end, right? Virtual handover, it's again about when you're handing over any facilities or equipments installed, you can have the recordings of how it was installed, how it has to be maintained, and any fixings and so on. All these details can be fed into the model. It is the operation team for the facility maintenance. Kobe, it's nothing but collecting the data, construction building information exchange. When you, there are three different departments like design to construction, construction to operation, right? There's a shift in the teams which is coming in. So the design team has to deliver the data which is on the BIM model to the construction team so that they can use it for construction activities. Then the construction team has to deliver the data, how it has been executed, and to the operation team. So the data transform, the data exchange between these three disciplines among the two phases is very much critical. And for that, the client would clearly specify, okay, these are the components and these are the parameters and these are the documentations I need. And that becomes a easy way to extract the data for further integrations. Commissioning. Commissioning is a systematic process of verifying that all the building system perform interactively. So that has to be taken care before you hand over the project, and BIM will help in a better way to do that. Building automation system, today we are speaking about several IoT devices, right? Like lighting controls, smoke detections, indoor air quality services, and water management, on-site technical services, enterprise system management, XYZ things, surveillance cameras, fire detection and alarms. So all of these can be integrated with your BIM models and the sensor data, whatever the surveillance camera data or a fire detection data. All of this data, energy data, all of these can be managed on the BIM model itself. You don't need to go back to those devices or some other platforms to collect that data. So it becomes so handy so that the model is on a cloud and I open it on an iPad or a mobile, and I can go to that equipment and click on that and I can see all the data. And I can also activate the elements, I can automate whatever the automation is there in the house, for example, the screen automation, gate automation, any equipments automations, whatever you do through voice commands and so on. So all of these can be activated through the BIM models. Maintenance training, which is very critical because the team which has constructed is not the same team which is going to maintain, and you have to provide them with the maintenance training. So that kind of support also becomes much easier with this BIM. And today you use several equipments like drones, for example. I just play. How much time do I have, ma'am, for a discussion?
Sir, we can stop at 10:40. Then we can go for a question and answer session, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. I have a short videos I will play for them so that it
Okay, sir.
becomes easier.
Actually, your session is up to 11, sir. So,
Okay, okay, ma'am.
plan according to that.
1 second. What is happening is I'm wearing an AirPod. I will take it out so that the audio will be clear for you.
Before drone technology, construction projects are complicated, and keeping your eye on everything can be tricky. Before drone technology, the collection of aerial data was difficult and expensive. But in recent years, the use of commercial drones has become more widely accepted. Drones can be used to increase safety and quality for site material tracking and provide owners with a detailed view of what is happening at any given time. With BIM 360's drone technology integration partners, teams can collect data at various points throughout the project's lifecycle. You can survey sites before construction to help with planning and logistics. Fly drones at preset times to review the construction process. And after construction to verify as-built conditions. The integration of drone data into your project workflow can be valuable in keeping the project on time and on budget. Let Autodesk BIM 360.
It's nothing to do with Autodesk or BIM 360. There are several common data environment platforms. I just want to give you a brief on
how the drones can be used for some site activities. This is for the laser scanners. Obviously, you would have come across some laser scanners. The laser scanners price range from 30-40 lakhs to 1 to 2 CR. And it all depends on how fast it can collect the point cloud data and how detailed you want it and so on. And how heavy it is, how lightweight it is. There are different factors on which the laser scan pricing are varied upon. Okay, this is for the laser scanning. This is for the cyber dog, which is for the built environment. I know that the Boston Dynamics dog is a little bit expensive, but recently MI has launched one dog for this quality assessments. It can easily go on the site at different situations and it can collect the data and it can help you to.
Here at Foster & Partners, we have been at the forefront of research for the built environment for over 50 years. We have teamed up with Boston Dynamics as part of their early adopters program for Spot, the semi-autonomous robot, to investigate how cutting-edge technologies can push the boundaries of both design and construction while enhancing productivity, efficiency, and collaboration.
3D laser scanning technology to capture and monitor on-site progress was integrated in the strategic plan developed by our Applied Research and Development Group.
This enables Spot to capture constant, quick, and consistent scans of construction sites. This precision monitoring tracks progress while still checking as-built versus as-designed models. Scanning and post-processing times have been reduced from weeks to a matter of days, while freeing up staff resource. Spot's remote control features greatly improve site visit safety and efficiency. Together with its ability to follow a pre-mapped route, Spot provides consistent repeated scans, navigates difficult terrain, and can access hard-to-reach areas on site.
This technology could be used to create four-dimensional models of our buildings, highlighting how they change over time. Combined with data from sensors that read environmental conditions and occupancy, we can create an intricate model of how people, furnishings, and environmental conditions interact. These four-dimensional models could become virtual collaboration spaces, available to people who cannot physically be in the same location.
Foster & Partners and Boston Dynamics will continue to push the boundaries of innovation, bringing the technology of the future in the hands of our designers today.
Okay. This is for augmented reality. You may be using the iPads and other devices today.
Tired of cold calling? Introducing Lucia, the easiest.
This is for a BIM cave when you have small space and you still have a better walkthrough visualization. So you can set up this kind of cave. It will take just 1/2 day to set this up and 3 projection systems, and you have a better walkthrough of the real facilities.
Step into your project and visualize reality with this fully immersive and collaborative environment. Engineer, optimize and finalize better outcomes whilst interacting with your project BIM. Introducing the Fullmax Cube, the flagship product of the Fullmax innovative virtual and augmented reality solutions. This compact solution will fit into any office space and even site cabins, and comfortably allow teams of up to 6 people to simultaneously view and discuss the project in detail. Assembled in less than 3 hours and user training taking just 12 minutes, the Fullmax Cube can be up and running for a design review in less than half a day. Access BIM data live while in the virtual environment, enabling teams to interact with graphical and non-graphical information to make better decisions, resulting in better design and operational outcomes. Powered by the Fullmax Keystone software, your project teams can easily take their virtual design and construction data from authorship to virtual reality in minutes. Project security is maintained as model processing happens within your organization by your project teams. To find out more, visit fullmax.co.uk.
Even this is a small one, but you can have a big size as much as size you want for 10 participants, 15 participants, 20 participants. You have different options. And these are the file formats which can be integrated with this Fullmax. But there are other companies also providing such solutions. This is for indoor scanning. If you do the laser scanning for outside, that was the one you saw previously. This is for the indoor scanning. So with this, you can capture the interior point clouds and then use it for whatever interior planning you have to do. Usually any IT facilities, you have to do the interior changes every 5 years or 10 years. So this will be a better solution for that kind of activities. So this is for a smart construction helmet.
Grammarly Business is an AI-powered writing assistant
Just 1 minute.
enabling teams of
Hi, I'm Matt Cameron. Here we have one of our prototypical users, a typical field service engineer. Sam, can you walk us through a couple of the use cases for the smart helmet and show us what it can do?
So we'll look at the work instructions first.
Great.
So this system behind me, it's a valve system. So the first thing the helmet does is detect the environment, and it will notice there's a pressure anomaly when I start looking at the gauges. So I look at the top gauge, I get a reading. I look at the bottom gauge, I get a reading. And then the system gives me a readout and detects an anomaly. It then guides me through simple work instructions to change the filter. So I step forward, replace the filter, confirm done. Second, confirm done. And now the system's bypassed.
And for that first use case, we tie in content from the existing work systems and work process data, but you don't need that data to make the smart helmet useful. You can use it right out of the box for, in essence, superhuman capabilities, like the ability to see thermal information over the top of the real world.
So if I look at this wall, you'll see a camera output, and you can see what I'm seeing. Now, on the face of it, everything looks normal. But when I click on thermal, you can see the hot water pipe there has got a blockage and the lagging's clearly damaged. And then the voltage system here has a fault behind it. So on the basis things generally get hot when they're about to fail, I can really easily see that things are wrong in this scenario.
This is for exoskeleton, in fact, to lift the heavy equipments. This is for the board. It's a site.
At Hilti, we strive for change. Around the world, our innovations have shaped how work is done on today's job sites. Today, our ambition remains as strong as ever, to drive productivity through innovation. With BIM, we've already entered the age of digital planning. What if we could use the same data to not only streamline processes, but simplify trade collaboration and automate repetitive and strenuous tasks? Now our vision becomes reality. Introducing the Hilti J-Bot, a semi-autonomous drilling robot for ceiling installations, helping you to deliver MEP projects on time. Let's not wait for the future to come. Let's shape it together.
So, well, for all of these things to happen, I mean, you may be from an educational institution, or you may be from a company, or from a client side, or whatever. Today, if we have to deliver a digital projects or with BIM in the projects, today some clients are matured, some are half matured, some are fully matured, but there is a requirement for all the skills and usage of these equipments and these softwares, and build the BIM models and make use of that best for the better project management to align with the industry 4.0. How do we do that? Especially to do this, first you have to have the digital transformation strategies in place, no matter it is a design company, contractor, or any other kind of companies, because it's not one day work, it's a capability building in an organization. Your company may be 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 1 lakh people. So you have to make the transformation and skill building and change in the way we work, the workflows and the softwares we use and the equipments we use, and that the way we manage the data. All of these things, there's a need for change. And it's a process of 2 to 3 years of roadmap which has to be laid on how do we transform for a digital way of delivering the projects. So digital strategy is very much critical for any of these activities to happen. So it's very much important to realize the IT infrastructure that is required, BIM technologies which are important, data and information, how it gets managed, people and the communication, how it happens, process and guidelines which gets followed for proper BIM implementation to happen. And for BIM implementation, it's not like one team of BIM people come into a company, and they start doing the BIM. It's like a complete transformation of the people within the company has to happen, and it's like skills that is required for each of the participants I showed you in the previous slides. So when one person support another person in their digital journey, then only the BIM projects happen. If a planning team doesn't use BIM, then get stuck there. If the MEP team doesn't do the BIM model, then what is the use of just having architecture and structural model? If the construction team doesn't use the BIM model, what is the use of design team building the BIM model? If the facility management team cannot use the digital twin, what is the use of delivering the digital twin for during the handover? And if contracts team cannot make use of this BIM model for different kind of legal issues or disputes and claims, what is the use of that data capture? So it's very much important to handle each of these stakeholders in the companies and build their skills to work in a digital way. It's not that separate team comes and work it, and then that BIM team is separate and this working team is separate. That is the current situation because we are lazy. Many people don't want to change. Many people resist to change because they worked in some way for decades and now they think, we worked in that way. Why should we change now? This kind of mindset, and it becomes very critical for the transformation to happen. Coming to the education now, which is very important topic, because all of these things what we discussed till now for an hour doesn't make any sense when we don't have a proper education for our youngsters who are coming in, because whatever the society we are building is not for us, it's for the coming generations, and we need a proper education to be given to them so that they make use of that data. Today you are developing a digital twin and handing over for some projects, and upcoming days your youngsters are not able to use it for facility management system for next 10 to 20 decades, 10 to 20 years. Then what is the use of that data? So skill development is very critical. Looking in the overall global sector, 1990 itself they started the BIM education, which we are discussing today. And many colleges incorporated BIM in their curriculum 2003 to 6 globally. Interdisciplinary and distance collaboration started 2006 to 9. Transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary people started working together 2010 onwards in the education. Like different departments come together to learn. And multinational, like different countries, universities and industries and policymakers come together to develop their programs. And now it has become MOOC platforms, online educations. There are very much different ways to do education. At least to start with, for your students, they can start working on the Coursera courses. In fact, me with my professors, we were in Taiwan. We developed BIM courses which are free. Of course, there is BIM fundamentals course and BIM for engineers course, which is free. Like they can start with such kind of fundamental programs and then get the certification and then follow, improve their skills at least, or at least help universities to consider the MOOC platform as a credit requirements. These are the things which will help if we cannot directly deliver the education, at least considering those credits as part of their program curriculum. And looking into the BIM education, it's widespread in almost and these many countries, like 30 plus countries. There's already a BIM education at a higher level, which keeps on improving on every semester to semester in tier 1, tier 2 universities. And it's very much important also for us to upgrade and also invite some BIM capable faculties, then they can bring in the changes in your institutions. BIM skill development, which is very important, no matter it's at a client office or at a industrial, service providers or even the education, academia, everywhere, which is very much critical and which is a hot topic today to be focused. And education can be provided. This is one of the example I'm giving you from our company for the BIM Academy. We do trainings on different areas like project specific. There is a team which is coming from airports or factories or metros. There's a specific trainings for them. There's a standard oriented, like we have ISO 19650 and few other BIM standard approaches and SOPs. We do trainings on that. Technology, there are different softwares from Autodesk, Bentley, Trimble, Dassault, Bexel, and these solutions. We do train our team to work on those solutions so that they implement that in the projects. Process oriented, which is more about the workflow management, data management, all of these areas. So we do several areas of education, which is important for our industrial adoptions. And it's about two areas. One is like a skill, which you learn by implementing on a technology. Knowledge is something which will help you to improve the workflow and align with the workflows and the people for coordinations. And how does these things happen? It's by connecting these different areas like policymakers, like regulatory bodies, education institutions, research centers, and process field like owners, operations, PMCs, architects, engineers, contractors, facility management teams, and technology vendors like software developers, hardware developers, network providers. So there is a connect which is required among these people, players in the country, so that they will be able to deliver the projects which client is asking for. If you don't have a proper software, how will the process field people work on it? If there is no proper hardware, how can you deploy that software? If there's no proper network to coordinate, then what is the meaning of that? If any of these players are not aligned with BIM, there is no proper BIM delivery happening. If there is no proper policies or education things won't work. So it's about effort from all these three players, which is very critical for happening the transformation at a market level. Well, this is my presentation. As ma'am told, I've taken up to 1040, and this is a last slide. I'm a digital transformation strategist, working from macro level to the micro level. Macro is more of countries, strategic collaboration, and micro is like a project level, organization level, and details level. Because when we need a transformation to happen, These levels of coordinations is very critical, macro to micro, macro, meso, micro. So with respect to industry, I'm working in L&T. I'm heading the BIM strategies. For the policy development, I'm working with the Bureau of Indian Standards, forming a BIM panel under the construction committee. And with BSI, BRA, I'm working with understanding the ISO and audits, and also to have the national annex for the ISO for our country. And Social Connect, I have started this India BIM way back in 2016, and Focus is part of that as a chairman of BIM vertical, which includes all the critical areas and also human rights and other few areas like Council of Architecture, CREDI. Strategic connects with like CII, EI, Builders Association, few of the ministries and so on, and academia and research with some of the institutions, and global connect with some of the forums like the one which we have like India BIM. So these are the ways we are connecting, understanding the ways, and then helping the transformation to happen in the country. Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for giving the opportunity, and also for the ACT, and also the Sona College for organizing this program. And now, any queries, please.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open to the participants. Any queries you can please ask.
Okay, we have roughly 80 people.
Yes, sir.
So that means everyone has understood what I have told. I'm so happy. No questions. Or have questions, feel free to at least text it on a chat box. We can read it out. Or if you want to connect with me, I can also share my number. It's in the, I can put it on a chat box. I'm available on WhatsApp, but please ping me sometime and then I will get back to you. So there is no option for me to text chat box, ma'am.
Dr. Amarnath, thank you so much for your wonderful session. As a academician, how we can start implementing this BIM or in education? We can have one course on this BIM, but how we can give them a project, or what are all the tools and softwares they have to learn?
Okay. Ma'am,
is it one course is sufficient for them, or we have to have some module like?
Ma'am, it's not about one course, it's about transforming the courses, all the subjects you have, and bringing digital is very critical. But to start with a fundamental course will also help. But if you ask me what to be taught today, it's about startup requirements in the country. And the key challenges here is, for example, I have shown you different devices today. And is there any consultant who can bring in all the solutions together and help us in the construction activities for the construction management and develop the digital twin or laser scan or drone survey or whatever? There are no people readily available as a complete solution. I have to go to laser scanning to some company. I have to go to some company for the modeling activity. So these are some of the challenges. So today, if I see in the global market with the big universities, the students are not worried about what job I get. They're worried about what startups can I have. So that, and being such a big country and a market which is open for infrastructure development for another 2-3 decades, I think people focusing on these new things will really help. And also being a civil engineering, since you're calling from civil engineering department, I would recommend not to get into modeling activities into the software learning. You have to focus on time, cost, safety, quality, management, CDE, these areas of software solutions. And it's a further detailed on how to coordinate for this complete construction management activities.
Okay. Suppose what will be the scope and opportunity in India once he or she learnt this BIM and they are expertising themselves in this area? As you mentioned, in India, it is very slow picking up this digital transformation, right?
It was slow before, and now it is changing very quickly. And we are not here to focus only about our country or our city or our region. When there is something new which is very much adding value for the project, then everyone are ready to take it. The only thing is you have to show the returns what you get from that and explain the people how it is useful. Because today many people may not know that to implement. But if you have that build that capabilities in in a university and have a small startups also, it will really help. They can come into the market. They're very unique because today's companies, BIM service providers in the market, they're only focusing on modeling, documentation, basic things. They don't have the capabilities on the topics what I discussed today. There's very much opportunities if they do these things. The only fear is if they don't do these things, what is their challenges is my scaring thing. I'm worried about what they will get the jobs without doing these things. That is my challenge.
Okay, as you mentioned, it is a real thing that now civil engineering the students and the attraction towards the civil engineering branch is getting very less because that their salary is not that much like IT engineer what they are getting once they finishing school. So now with these technologies, it is we can do wonders and beyond IT engineer salary, one civil engineer also can get. But the thing is, we are talking about many technologies and tools and softwares. How it can be integrated to the civil engineering industry or the companies. The way forward is something it is vague.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Bring in an advisor for your company, for your academy, spend some money on these equipments and softwares, then things will happen.
Okay.
So I'm sitting like that, things won't happen for all of us. Because the expertise has been built within the people with their experiences, and there should be some efforts and money spent on these areas. Then only things will happen. You cannot just see a drone and see how it works and then teach like that. I have to bring one drone into my in my academy, help people to use that in the labs. I have to bring the laser scanners. I may need to bring the MI docs for the quality control. This kind of thing. Some money has to be spent like how you spent on other labs. Think about a digital. I don't think it's a challenge for building that capabilities, and then going strategical approach is very much critical. And once invest, obviously returns are always there because we are not investing on something which is outdated. We are investing on something which is upcoming things.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Amarnath.
Yes, ma'am.
Shalnima, is there any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, one more question. How can we connect civil engineering students to digital transformation?
Yeah, the biggest approach is transform your curriculums. For example, some background, you can mute. Hello.
Hello, sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I think everyone are on mute or how is it?
Sir, everyone is on mute.
Probably the background is from you can. Okay, thank you. So the main requirement is today you have a structure engineer, you have a transportation engineer, you have an earthquake engineer, you have a geo, you have different disciplines, construction management, real estate. So BIM is for all these disciplines, and they have to learn the specific skills. They have to get that specific skills and competencies in those lines. It's a framework which has to be brought into the education system in the curriculums. I know some of the ACT approved universities don't have that opportunity, but with deemed university, a lot of changes can be made. But if there is an opportunity like that, then division of curriculums will help to align the students for what skills. Because today a transportation engineer is still a transportation engineer, but he has to upgrade on what kind of transportation engineering tools has to be learned for BIM implementation, and the workflows which are required, which becomes a little bit common between all the disciplines, and sometimes some education is relevant to only that particular discipline. So it is a multiple programs on BIM which has to be introduced. It's not one course saying that what is BIM, how is BIM, and so on. It's about one may be fundamental, another may be intermediary, another one advanced courses. Some may be in a UG, some in a PG, which all becomes a requirement. I'm not telling this based on my guess. I'm telling this based on most of the tier 1 universities globally are doing. They don't have one course, they have multiple courses. Some universities have 4 to 5 courses in their curriculums. Some universities have a multidisciplinary. Some universities also allow the MOOC courses as a credits as part of their, and they also propose which courses to be made part of their program, and XYZ things. So it is again, it's a strategic approach which needs a complete planning by bringing in the your board of studies into consideration, understanding, brainstorming, formulating the new curriculums and putting on board and building the faculty capabilities on those lines and training the teams. And it's not always that the faculty internally has to do all of these things. Maybe you can bring in the industry experts, faculties, and XYZ things together to make something workable. And also flip classrooms, something will be recorded sessions and you have games and activities on the site during the sessions. Exchange programs, a lot of things can be done, but it needs a lot of efforts to happen.
Sir, and one more question is, when we are implementing the BIM in terms of economic benefit, can we able to have high percent of OPEX and CAPEX?
Yeah. So as I explained in that economic benefit slide, 10% capex, 10% opex is what usually benefit from the level 2 BIM implementation. Probably once the level 3 is ready, maybe people may see better benefits, I don't know. But at least now we can easily say that 10% of capex and opex can be realized only if you do the BIM implementation of all the topics I showed you today. Without doing that, if you say that I have developed a very wonderful BIM model and we want this returns, you won't get it. You won't even get returns. You will invest actually. Because in that slide, if you see, in this slide, if you see, in the design phase capability, many of the companies are only doing till design here. They're actually investing money. They're investing on a softwares, they're investing on a hardware, they're investing on a manpower, they're investing on a skill building. So a lot of investments happening in the design. They're having a wonderful BIM model here. After that, they're not using the BIM model. Then you're not expecting the 10% capex here. And if you're not doing the BIM after construction, you're not also not getting OPEX. So you can forget 10% capex and OPEX if you don't use the BIM model for any other activities. Actually, you're investing. No, you're not getting returns in that case. Only when you start building your capabilities for the construction and operation, then you can realize these benefits. If you have to get more than this, maybe we have to do some case study and do the best principles can be adopted and seen. I don't know.
So any other questions? Krishnan sir, do you have any questions?
Well, you're free to connect with me. I will go to the first slide probably. You will get my contact. You can reach me out. At time on WhatsApp, we can have a discussion. So here is my WhatsApp number if you can see on the bottom. There is no question. I think we're almost done. We have another 5 minutes.
Okay, sir. So I think the participants don't have any questions. You are all clear about today's presentation. So first of all, I want to thank for Dr. Amarnath sir for accepting my invitation immediately. Sir, thank you so much. Even in your busy schedule, you have given acceptations immediately. And personally, I want to thank for moral support always, sir, to organize this FTP successfully through the title confirmations and identification of good reputed speakers in a different field. Thank you so much, sir. And also today you have enlightened all the participants to know more softwares like CyberDoc, BIM, Cave, Exoskeleton, Indoor Scanner, and etc. So I think we all, I sure they all will implement these softwares in the students' project work in upcoming days. So thank you so much, sir. Sir, yesterday one question was raised to Pooja ma'am. The exoskeleton and drone is same.
Exoskeleton and drone?
Drone are same.
No, ma'am, they are different. How can it be same? Exoskeleton is something which will help you to lift uh, heavy, heavy items.
Heavy
Drone
items.
is
Okay.
used for a survey.
Okay. So, but exoskeleton is lifted by person only.
No, exoskeleton is way by a human
Human.
to do heavy lifting because we have some power with us. But when you wear this exoskeleton, it will help you to increase the power to lift heavy elements.
Okay, sir. Okay.
This
Okay.
is by mistake. I have to change this. And drone, what you saw here is for the drone surveys. They are different.
Drone survey.
Fine. Then thank you for all the audience, especially for attending the session early morning. I feel I have not bored you in the first 1.5 hour session. And I hope you'll have further good sessions also in the coming days through this FTP, and which will help you to implement new learnings for your students, because we are the people, we have to give the same education to other hundreds of students. And I hope this is very much helpful and directional for you to plan on what is the way forward on the digital side. And thank you so much for Sona College and also the ACT for giving this opportunity. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your consistent support always, sir. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Amarnath.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, participants. So now you can leave. So no more questions and no more doubts. You can leave. It's time for a break. We will meet for next section at 11:30 a.m. Thank you, ma'am.
ஷாலினி இப்போ 11:30க்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு 10 மினிட்ஸ் முன்னாடி இல்லாட்டி 5 மினிட்ஸ் முன்னாடி இந்த புக்கு ஏதோ ஒரு வீடியோ ஏதோ ஒரு நம்ம அச்சீவ்மெண்ட்ஸ் ஏதோ ஒன்று போட்டு விடுங்கம்மா.
சரி, ஓகேங்க மேம்.
இல்லாட்டி நம்ம ட்ரோன்ல ஏதாவது பண்ணியிருப்போம் அதெல்லாம் கூட போடலாம்.
மேம் நேற்று வந்து குல்சன் அந்த அச்சீவ்மெண்ட் ஸ்லைடு ஒரு 15 ஸ்லைடு மிஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுங்க மேம். அதை நான் மறுபடியும் வாங்கி ஓபன் பண்ணி போட்டு விட்டுறேங்க மேம்.
சரி, ஓகே.
ஓகேங்க மேம். தேங்க்யூ மேம். Either switched off or not
FTP. FTP. ఎక్కడికి ఏమన్నారా ఏం మీటింగ్ అసలు ఏం పెట్టలేడా ఏమన్నాడా బ్యాచ్ వైస్ ఉండు జయపాల్ ఫోన్ చేస్తాను